Hey guys, this is my first audio commentary on my channel. Some of you were asking for these in the comment section for some time now. So this is me. Hello, this is my voice. Sorry for my Eastern European accent. And let's learn something. I was thinking about what to do as a commentary video, and all of my process videos are really long. They are like 3 to 4 hour processes just sped up to the time lapse, and that's something I don't want to do as a full commentary because it would be too long. So maybe let's try something different. This is based on a scene that I have done some time ago. I want to breathe some life into it, and also last time the Blender 2.8 beta, the volumetric didn't work properly on the render output. So this time with the latest build it works, and also I want to give it a little bit of movement, and we'll do some basic animation. Okay, let's get back to Blender. I will provide this scene for you in the description of the video below. The first thing should be setting up the rendering properly. If you look right up here, let me just enable the shortcuts real quick so you can see what I'm doing right here. And this is the basic shaded view of Blender. And if you switch to the look dev mode or the render, it's very similar because the look dev mode runs on the EEVEE engine as well. But if you switch between them, you can see the lights look different on the render, and that's because the look dev enables you to try a lot of different environment textures right here. But I don't want that right now, so let's just enable scene lights and scene world, so we don't have any environment texture here. Okay, how to make this scene to look nice in the EEVEE? Go to the render tab and let's go point by point. First of all, I want to enable ambient occlusion and the bloom effects. You can see right after enabling the bloom effect, the lights have this nice glow. I also want to enable screen space reflections and indirect lighting, but first of all, to lights to work properly in EEVEE and the global illumination to work properly, you need the light probes. And basically what these are objects that gather information from certain points in the scene about the values and the color of the lighting, and then use this information to bake the lighting information to the objects and to the scene by building a light map. So it works just like in Unity or any other real-time game engine. If you press Shift A, you can see there is a light probe category, and let's add the reflection cube map. But first let me reset the position of the cursor. Okay, and let's add cube map and scale it up around the whole scene. It doesn't have to be that much. Basically depends on what is the field of view. And let's add another light probe, this time irradiance volume, which is important for actually baking the light information and the global illumination. So let's scale that up around our scene. I think this will be enough, and let's move it up a bit. I just pressed G and Z to lock it up. And now switch to the camera view by pressing 0, and let's enable screen space reflection and see the magic happening. And we want also indirect lighting, bake the light information. You can see down here the bake is in progress. Open up the shadows. You want the height, beat depth and soft shadows. And we also want to add some volumetrics, some fog or mist. And to be able to do that, we need to add some object that will hold the material for the fog. You can do it as well in the World tab, but I like to have a smaller object to hold the volumetric material. So let's add a cube, scale it up, and let's give it a new material. And here on the surface you want to remove that, and under the volume tab you will add volume scatter. That's great. You can see nothing happened because in the render tab we didn't enable volumetrics just yet. So enable volumetrics, volumetric lighting, volumetric shadows, and go back to the material, and under the volume scatter let's change the density to 0.1. That will be enough, I think. And right now this is a whole lot different scene. We can maybe tone down the volumetric a bit. Let's change density to 0.05. Great. Now this scene looks much better, I think. There's some atmosphere to it, you can click and edit objects in real time while have this rendering enabled. Perfect, isn't it? So if you go into the camera and press F12 to render, just a few seconds, because there is some computing going on, but this is the final render, and I think this looks even better than the image I did last time. One more thing to make the scene pop out, you can go to the render tab, and under the color management right down here we can change the contrast and the exposure levels. So let's change the base contrast to the medium low contrast, or rather medium high contrast, and let's add the exposure a bit, and this looks just cool. If anytime you want to check the scene in the solid view and you see that volumetric cube we have there, you can enable the wire mode for it. Just go to the solid and let's click the properties of the object, and under the viewport display you can see display as textured and change it to the wire, and you can disable it right here by clicking on that arrow in the inspector view. Let's do some animation. First let's do the movement of the car. So right now the car is in the Ford collection, and there is some objects here, but the important thing is that the bodywork of the car is the parent to the all other object. So if you move the bodywork, the whole car moves, and we want to move it along some curve or something like that, and it's really easy to do that in Blender. Let me just hide the scene and the terrain layers or collections, and let's reset by pressing Alt R the rotation of the car and Alt G the position, and let's add the curve. Shift A, curve, Bezier, and let's scale it up. And right now this is no good because the first thing, which is important to remember when you do the animation along the curve, is the origin of the object that follows the curve should be on the same exact spot as the origin of the curve, and also the beginning point of the animation should be exactly the same spot if you want this kind of animation, like a car moving along the curve. Of course, this is not a rule. If sometimes you want to follow the curve, there are a lot of ways to do that, but in this particular situation we need to have the origin the same, which is right now, and also the starting point. And this is the, if I go to the top view, this is the first point of the curve, and I want to reset its position. So just grab it, hold Ctrl to snap, and set it in the middle. And I also want to rotate it 90 degrees in the opposite direction. Okay, so now the curve starts here and it's facing this direction. And if you move this along, you can press Shift Z to lock to the plane. So if you do curve like this, where it starts on the same point as the car and the first point is also there, you just now select the bodywork of the car, Shift select the curve, press Ctrl P to make a parent, and one of the options for making a parent is a follow path. And if you click that, right now if you scrub through the animation, this is completely wrong. And why is that? Oh, I see. If you look here, this little dashed line, I moved the wrong point, so this is actually the beginning point of the curve. So let me fix that. Just move this one away and move this one here. I don't know if the better way should be to go back, but I just want to fix it. If anytime you would make the similar mistakes I did, that you could be able to fix that. Let's clear the parent for the car with pressing Alt P, clear parent. You see, it's back to its original position. Let's fix the Z position of this point, and actually the rotation of this point. Okay, and one last thing, this should be facing directly, so let's hold Control, move it along. Okay, so let's make that again. Control P, follow path, and now if you play back, the car is following. Now what's great about this, you can now just move the curve around and the car will move as well. So let's see, I will maybe start this animation here if we look through the camera, and I want the car to be moving maybe here. but I don't like the view of the camera, so let's play with that. Let me select the camera and switch the orthographic to the perspective. Let's move it down a bit. It's GZZ to move it a little bit further out. Let's look at the animation now. Yeah, that's actually better, I think. And if we change the position of the curve, I think the scale of the car is a little bit too large for this scene. With the orthographic view, it was for some composition purposes, but right now I want this car really smaller. I think this will be enough. So let's look at the scene. Oh, not bad. Yeah. That's why I choose the perspective camera, so as to have this nice little view. Let's look at it in the render view. Oh, nice. Oh, I just love EEVEE, don't you? Okay, let's look at it. Okay, that's great. And maybe we could add some rotation to the car. You know, when it's flying in, it could do some roll or something like that. And it will be great. So let's select the car. And I think this is too long for the start. Let's do the roll. Select the bodywork of the car, go to the first frame and press I to insert keyframe and click the rotation. And right here we want to press Y twice to rotate around the local axis. Rotate it here. Press I, insert rotation. And here we can insert another rotation keyframe. And here we want to really rotate the car. Okay, that looks nice. Now let's try to make this animation a little smoother, a little nicer, a little bit of easing there, because right now it's very linear if you play that. So I think this should be done in the curve editor, and we will have to manually keyframe this evaluation time on the pad animation. But let me check it first. Go to the animation tab. By the way, this is really nice thing that the Blender 2.8 has by default. There are these little tabs where you can change workspaces on the fly, and it's really practical. Let's change this one to the graph editor, and let's select this evaluation time with the curve selected. And here it is. This is the animation on the curve, on the red line here. But if you press N to show the menu, there is this modifiers tab, and you can see there is a generator there which actually makes this animation. And if you remove that, right now nothing happens on the curve, but the follow path actually works. The parenting of the object works, just the property on the path isn't animated. And if you go on the curve again and open this animation, when you move the evaluation time, you can see the car moves along. So this is actually the control which affects the position of the object along the path. So let's just manually animate this, and we have 50 frames. So let's press I over this, and if we move the 50 frames, let's do it manually. And you can, I think, insert keyframe by clicking here. Yeah, right now you can see there is a new animation curve, the red line here, but it's not generated, and we can control the curve of the animation. And right now it's a basic Bezier, so this is just the basic ease in, ease out, and maybe it'll be enough. Let's check through the camera. Oh, that's nice. Maybe let's bring it more with more speed into the scene, like this. Okay, let's play that. Boom. And it's a little bit too fast, so let's set the frames to 70. Evaluation to 70. Actually, let's move these frames to 70 and set the evaluation to 70. Sorry. And press I. Okay. Right now we have stretched the animation to 70 frames, so we have some more space to breathe. Let's zoom in a bit more. Let's be really fast here in the middle of the animation and really slow at the end, or a little bit slower, or maybe not so much. Now let's modify this so we don't have to jump again and again. So let's modify it to 70. And I think the movement on the curve is good, but the rotation of the car is not so hot. So let's modify that. Select the car. And first let's stretch this to 70 frames as well. Just select them all and scale. So let's go to the first frame and scale it all to 70 frames. Maybe not so much. Let's go to 50 or 60 maybe. Oh, that's nice. Okay, let's look at that in the layout view. You can disable the overlays here, so you can see the final. I maybe want the car to go more into the camera in the end here. So that's good. Okay, I think we have the basic motion of the car. Now, about the tree, let's animate it as well, and that'll be the last thing for this video. But you will see the result that I will do at the end of the video. But right now let's just do one more thing, and that's the animation of the tree. And that'll be very easy, because if you click on the model of the tree and go into the modifiers right here, you can see there is a simple deform modifier with the bend, and there is angle. And if you change the value of this, you can see the tree moves in really nice and plastic ways, like in the movie, and that's exactly what I want to do here. So let's just find some. I think this is nice initial point for the middle of the animation, because I want it to move around, and when the car is near, I want to kind of smash in the direction of the car. Let's give it an initial position here in the beginning and in the end. So let's press I over the angle, control here. Basically every property you can see can be animated this way. And let's move all the way to the end of the animation. Let's press I again. So we now have 2 keyframes. If you move like to the frame 20 or something like that, we can modify this angle to move it maybe here. You can see now it's moving, but it's returning very slowly all the way to the final frame. So we can add this keyframe on 35, which will be all the way to the other side. Okay. Press I. And it looks like the tree is smashing towards that car. And notice we don't have to do very much with the easing right here, because when you create default keyframes like this, I think they're already eased out. If you click the animation, you can see there are Bezier curves for the animation, but we will most definitely play around this. Let's get back to the layout. What I want to do next is to make the branches move as well, and that can be done if you go to the trash collection. You can see there is a branch. The trash collection, I just named it because it's a collection where I wanted to move objects that I didn't actively need in the scene, but it doesn't mean these are objects which are to be thrown away. I can show it to you actually if we enable the collection. So this is the branch for the tree. We just disabled the collection and disabled the view, so we don't have to see it. And if you go back to the render view, if you select the branch and see that there is another simple deform modifier with the angle, we can move the branches as well with one simple modifier. And guess what? We can animate it too. So let's do the initial frames. Let's give it an angle, move it all the way to the end, give it a keyframe. Okay, the reason why you don't see the keyframes here is because we have this disabled and the object was inactive in the scene. If you enable it and see outline of the object, you will see the keyframes in the dope sheet as well. So we now have an angle, and I want to maybe go to the frame 20, move the angle like this, press I to insert keyframe, and move it all the way here where I want complete opposite direction of the bending. So maybe this. Not so much, we want some subtle movement here. And now you can see there is some movement. And these kinds of movement, which are really subtle and kind of secondary to the main movement of the object, really make the difference if you want to make animation look good. So bear that in mind. Let's disable the trash collection again, and the last thing, let's play around with this animation a bit. Let's go to the render view, disable the overlay so we have a nice preview. Let's play the animation. The first movement of the tree should be like more slower in the apex of the movement. So it really goes slow here, and then bam, it should really thrust toward the car. So let's make this really sharp and fast movement. It doesn't match the movement of the car, so let's move it a bit. Okay, I really like this. And right now you can render the scene here in render animation. You can render it to the frames and then later composite it into animation, or you can render it into the video file. You can find the settings here in the output tab. here's the folder and here's the format. I hope you liked this new format of the video, and please let me know in the comments if you want more videos like this, and give me your honest feedback, what you like, what you didn't like. If you're new to the channel and you like my content, please hit that subscribe button or that thumb up button. You will really make me smile when I see that notification in the email. And that's it for now. I hope to see you on my next videos.